There is a sacred truth written in the fabric of this universe, one that is whispered in the quiet of the night and roars in the silence of your heart. You are not alone in your suffering, and justice does not sleep. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when betrayal is not merely a distant concept, but a bitter reality. When the hand you once held in trust is the same hand that strikes you with cruelty, and in that moment, when pain is raw and the wound still bleeds, the soul trembles with a single desperate question. Why? Why must the righteous suffer while the wicked seem to prosper? Have you ever sat in the stillness of your own despair, wrestling with this question? Have you ever felt the ache of betrayal so deep that it seems to echo through your very bones, as if your soul itself has been torn apart? Perhaps it was a friend who turned their back, a lover who broke their vow, a family member who abandoned you when you needed them most. Whatever the cause, the pain is the same, sharp, relentless, and cold. And in the wake of that pain, we are often tempted to take justice into our own hands, to seek revenge, or at the very least to make sure they feel the same suffering we've endured. But here's where the journey truly begins, not in vengeance, but in surrender, not in retribution, but in release. You see, spiritual growth is not born from retaliation, it is born from restraint. It is in the letting go that we rise. It is when we unclench our fists and allow divine justice to unfold that we step into a higher plane of existence. Letting karma handle those who hurt us is not weakness, it is spiritual mastery. For the God who sees in secret, the one who counts every tear and hears every silent cry, has not overlooked your pain. He has not turned his face away from your sorrow. What if the pain you endured was not the end of the story, but the beginning of a greater transformation? What if your betrayal is the very fire through which your soul is being refined? There is a hidden power in suffering. When we release the burden of vengeance and entrust justice to the divine, we reclaim our peace and our power. You were never meant to carry the weight of retribution. That burden belongs to a higher authority. Ask yourself, what is the cost of holding on to resentment? What is it stealing from you even now? Your peace, your joy, your future? And what if, in letting go, you are not only freeing yourself from the chains of the past, but opening the door to blessings you cannot yet see? Think about it. Every time you replay the betrayal in your mind, every time you wish for their downfall, you are tethered to the pain they caused you. But when you say, "I leave it to God," you sever that chain. You no longer walk as the wounded, you walk as the awakened. You walk in faith, believing that karma, divine justice, will serve a greater purpose than you ever could by your own hand. In the Holy Scriptures, we are reminded again and again, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord." It is not your burden to right every wrong. It is not your task to make your betrayers suffer. That work belongs to karma, to God, to the justice that governs this world beyond what our eyes can see. So here you stand, at a crossroads. On one path lies the temptation to seek revenge, to hold on to bitterness, to let anger consume you. On the other lies the path of release, of trust, of spiritual growth. Which path will you choose? Letting karma handle those who hurt you is not surrendering to weakness. It is rising into power. It is choosing peace over chaos, faith over fear, and growth over stagnation. It is trusting that the same God who allowed the betrayal will now use it to elevate you. Those who wronged you are not forgotten, and the pain you carried is not wasted. Now, let us take this journey deeper and uncover the ways in which your suffering becomes the soil of your spiritual growth, and how karma is already at work against those who tried to break you. You free your soul from bitterness. There is a kind of prison that cannot be seen with the eyes, yet it binds more tightly than any chains of iron. It is not built with stone nor secured with locks, yet it holds countless souls captive in its grip. That prison is bitterness, and if you have ever been betrayed, truly betrayed, you know exactly what it feels like. It starts as a wound, a sharp, unexplainable ache in the chest when the person you loved, trusted, or cared for turns against you, the moment their words cut deeper than a knife, the moment their actions break your spirit. Something within you shatters, and in the days that follow, that brokenness begins to fester, not because you want it to, but because you cannot forget. You replay the betrayal over and over, as if by reliving it you might somehow make sense of it, or perhaps protect yourself from future pain. But each time you do, you feed the bitterness, and bitterness is hungry. It feeds on your joy, your peace, your hope. It poisons your thoughts, taints your relationships, and clouds your view of the world. The smiles of others feel distant, laughter becomes hollow, even moments of peace are short-lived, because the weight of what they did to you drags you back down. You begin to wonder if life will ever feel light again. My friend, you were not created to live like this. You were not meant to carry this poison in your soul. Bitterness is not your inheritance. Freedom is. Think of how much of your life has been consumed by thoughts of them, the person who wronged you. How many nights have you laid awake, reliving the moment they betrayed you? How many days have been spent in anger, in sorrow, in wishing they could feel just an ounce of what you've felt? And all the while, your soul, the very core of who you are, is crying out, not for revenge, but for release. You are longing to be free. But here is the cruel irony of holding on to bitterness. It doesn't hurt them. It only hurts you. They may move on with their lives, unaware or uncaring about the pain they left behind, but you are still carrying them every single day in your heart and mind. Their betrayal continues to control you, not because they are powerful, but because the bitterness has chained you to them. Let that sink in. Is that the life you want? Is that the legacy of their betrayal? That they continue to have power over your emotions, your days, your future? Or will you choose something greater? Letting karma handle those who hurt you is not about excusing what they did. It's about finally saying, I will not let their actions dictate my peace any longer. It's about declaring, I deserve to be free, even if they never apologize. It is a sacred act of reclaiming your soul from the grip of bitterness and returning it to the hands of peace, healing, and spiritual growth. Because when you let go, truly let go, you will feel it, like a heavy stone lifted from your chest, like a breath you didn't know you were holding. Suddenly, you see the sky again, you feel the light again, and you begin to remember who you were before the pain changed you. That is freedom. That is the beginning of healing. That is spiritual growth. Bitterness is a thief. It steals your life in slow, silent increments. But you have the power, the divine right, to take it back. And you begin that journey the moment you decide that you will no longer carry what they did to you. Let karma carry it. Let God carry it. Let your soul be light again. Let it be free. You stop wasting energy on revenge. There is a silent exhaustion that no one talks about, the kind that creeps into your bones when your heart is consumed with thoughts of revenge. It is a heavy burden, a constant drain, and it steals from you in ways that are often invisible. If you've been betrayed, if someone you trusted has turned against you, then you know exactly what I mean. The betrayal doesn't just break your heart, it ignites a fire inside you, a fire that says, I want them to feel what I felt. At first it seems justified, natural even. After all, how could they hurt you and just walk away unscathed? How could they smile, and live their life as if your pain means nothing? The mind begins to race with scenarios. What if they lose what they value most? What if their lies catch up to them? What if karma gives them a taste of their own cruelty? These thoughts, fueled by anger and hurt, become a loop, a cycle that repeats day after day. And before you even realize it, you're tired, not because of what happened, but because you're spending all your energy trying to control what should never be yours to control. Revenge. Think about how much of your strength has been spent thinking about them, how many hours, days, weeks have been lost, imagining their downfall, hoping for their regret, wishing for their suffering. You wake up thinking about it. You go to sleep with it on your mind. It seeps into your conversations, your moods, even your ability to enjoy the good things in your life. This is not peace. This is emotional slavery. And the most tragic part? Revenge never truly satisfies. Even if they suffer, even if they fall, will that really restore what was taken from you? Will it undo the betrayal? Will it heal your broken trust? The truth is, revenge keeps you tethered to your pain. It prolongs your connection to the very person you want to forget. It keeps them alive in your mind and heart, and every second you spend plotting their downfall is a second lost from your own healing. But there is another way, a higher way. Imagine what could happen if you took all that energy, all that time, all that emotional fuel and poured it into yourself. Imagine the progress you could make, the strength you could build, the peace you could create if your focus shifted from their destruction to your restoration. Revenge is a thief. It disguises itself as justice, but it only robs you of your peace. It tells you that you can't move on until they suffer, but that is a lie. You can move on, and you must, because your life is too valuable, your energy too precious, to be wasted on someone who already showed you they didn't value it in the first place. Let karma handle them. Let divine justice take its course. When you surrender revenge, you reclaim power. You shift from being a victim of betrayal to a victor over bitterness. You say, "My energy will no longer serve my pain. It will serve my purpose." That is where freedom begins. Not in watching them fall, but in watching yourself rise. And when you rise, truly rise, you'll see it clearly. They are no longer worth your energy, your thoughts, or your time. You are no longer bound to their actions. You are no longer spending your life trying to settle a score that the universe is already keeping. Your revenge, it is your healing. Your energy, it is your own. Your power, it's back in your hands where it belongs. You allow divine justice to prevail. There comes a time when the heart can no longer carry the burden of trying to make things right on its own. You reach the edge of your strength, exhausted, broken, and desperate for justice that never seems to come. The people who hurt you continue to walk freely. They laugh, they thrive, and they live as if your suffering was nothing more than a fleeting inconvenience in their path. And in your deepest moments of pain, you wonder, where is justice? Where is the reckoning for the pain they caused? It is in that place, the valley of your sorrow, that the whisper of divine justice begins to speak. You see, there are two kinds of justice in this world. The justice we try to create by our own hands, and the justice that flows from the hand of God. The former is limited, flawed, and often driven by anger. The latter is perfect, timeless, and inescapable. The moment you let go of the need to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner, something sacred begins to happen. You invite God to take over. You step back and say, "I've done all I can, now it's in your hands." Have you ever considered that the delay in justice is not denial, that perhaps in His infinite wisdom, God allows the betrayers to walk freely for a time, not because He has forgotten you, but because his justice is not rushed or reactive. It is precise, it is complete, and when it arrives, it leaves no loose ends. Nothing escapes his gaze, not the words they spoke in secret, not the lies they told, not the damage they inflicted behind closed doors. He saw it all. He remembers it all. When you release your pain to divine justice, you are not giving up on justice. You are trusting that it will come in its appointed time. And in that trust, your soul begins to heal. The weight lifts. You are no longer bound by the torment of when and how they will suffer. You simply know they will, not because you wish them harm, but because you know that God is just, and He does not allow cruelty to go unpunished. It's a strange paradox, isn't it? The very moment you stop fighting for your own revenge is the moment you begin to feel truly free. Divine justice is not about spectacle. It's about balance. It restores what was broken, it humbles the proud, and it lifts up the crushed. Sometimes it happens in ways we can see: public disgrace, broken lives, shattered reputations. Other times it's quieter, an internal emptiness, a loss of peace, the crumbling of everything they built on the backs of those they betrayed. And you are no longer entangled in it. You have stepped aside and allowed a higher power to take control. You are no longer fueling your days with bitterness and the desire to see them fall. Instead, you are walking in faith, knowing that the one who fights for you never fails. Let them pretend. Let them live their facade. Let them believe they've escaped, because the day will come, and it always comes, when the mask falls and the truth prevails. And in that day, you will not be the one delivering the judgment. You won't need to be. Divine justice will have already spoken. When you let go and allow divine justice to prevail, you do more than surrender the fight. You reclaim your peace, your power, and your purpose. You rise above the chaos of revenge and step into the calm assurance that God sees, God knows, and God repays. You gain inner peace and mental clarity. There is no peace like the peace that follows surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of burdens you were never meant to carry. When someone wounds you deeply, betrays your trust, or turns love into pain, they don't just hurt your heart, they invade your mind. They occupy your thoughts, not as a guest, but as an uninvited force that refuses to leave. And in time, without even realizing it, your mind becomes a battlefield. Every thought, every emotion is laced with the memory of what they did, of what they said, of how it all broke you. You try to function, you go through the motions, but behind your eyes, there's a storm. Restless nights, anxious days, a constant replaying of the betrayal. Your mind feels heavy, cluttered, chaotic, and no matter what you do, you can't seem to shake it. There is no clarity, only confusion, only noise. You may have asked yourself, will this ever end? Will I ever feel peace again? The answer is yes, but only when you choose to let go. When you release your grip on the need for justice, for revenge, for answers, you begin to make space for peace. Until then, your mind is like a room filled with echoes, each one a reminder of your pain. But when you say, I'm done carrying this, the echoes fade, the noise settles, and for the first time in what feels like forever, you can hear your own soul again. Inner peace is not something you find, it is something you uncover once the layers of resentment, anger, and fear are lifted. It's not loud or dramatic. It's a quiet calm, a stillness that takes root deep within. And in that stillness, clarity is born. You begin to see things differently, not through the lens of pain, but through the eyes of healing. You recognize the power you still have, the strength you've gained, the freedom that is now within your reach. There is a reason why the heart longs for peace more than revenge. because peace is what restores you. Revenge may satisfy your anger for a moment, but peace soothes your soul forever. It doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't pretend the betrayal was painless, but it allows you to live without being ruled by it. That is the true victory, not in seeing them fall, but in rising so far above their reach that they no longer have any power over your emotions or your mind. Imagine waking up in the morning and not feeling the weight of their memory pressing down on your chest. Imagine walking through your day without the burden of anger clouding your every thought. Imagine looking at your future and seeing hope, light, possibility, because your mind is clear, your heart is steady, and your peace is intact. That kind of peace is not a dream, it's a decision. A decision to say, I will no longer allow their betrayal to control me. A decision to take back your mind, your emotions, your spirit. When you let karma and divine justice handle those who hurt you, you free yourself from the mental prison they placed you in. You begin to think clearly, breathe deeply, and live fully. And that clarity, it becomes your compass. You begin to make decisions not out of fear or pain, but out of purpose. You see who you are, who you were before the betrayal, and who you are becoming because of it. The noise quiets, the fog lifts, and peace fills the space they once occupied. Your mind becomes your own again, and in that sacred space, healing begins. You witness karma in action. There is something deeply human about the desire to see wrongs made right, especially when you have been wronged in ways that shattered your heart and stole pieces of your peace. When someone you loved betrayed you, when someone you trusted deceived you, or when someone you helped turned around and harmed you, the pain didn't just wound you temporarily, it left a mark on your soul. And though you tried to heal, to rise, to move forward, there was always one lingering desire, to know they would feel the pain they caused you. Perhaps you never said it out loud. Perhaps you told yourself you didn't care anymore, but deep down, in the quiet spaces of your heart, you longed for a sign, a moment where life itself would show them the consequences of their actions. You wanted to know that your pain was not in vain, that the universe was not blind, that justice was not a myth. And then, in time, perhaps when you least expected it, you begin to notice something. The smiles they once wore are now forced. The success they flaunted seems to crumble. Their relationships fall apart, their plans fail, their peace is disturbed. From a distance, you see the signs, small at first, then louder, more obvious. The very things they once held over you, the life they lived so confidently after hurting you, now begins to fall apart. This is not about hatred. It is not about vengeance. It is about the balance of life. What you are witnessing is karma in action, a divine, unshakable law at work. It's the echo of every cruel word they spoke, every lie they told, every moment they made you feel small. It is the return of what they gave, multiplied, now finding its way back to them, because no action, good or evil, escapes the eyes of divine justice. Think of all the times you wept behind closed doors while they laughed in public, all the times you begged God for relief while they seemed to rise higher and higher. You questioned it, didn't you? You wondered if justice was real, if they would ever know what you felt. But now, life has turned. And though you did not raise a hand, though you did not seek revenge, the universe, God Himself, has begun to respond. There is something indescribably powerful in watching karma unfold, not because you take pleasure in their downfall, but because it validates your pain. It confirms that you were not wrong for feeling broken, not weak for being hurt. It tells you that the world is not as cruel as it seemed, that there is order, that there is justice, and that what was done in darkness will always be exposed to light. And the beauty of it all? You did not have to lift a finger. You let go, and karma took over. You released the desire for revenge, and divine justice answered in ways you never could have orchestrated. The pain they gave you became the very weight that dragged them down. The lies they used against you became the tangled web in which they are now trapped. They may try to hide it, they may act as though all is well, but behind the facade they are facing the storm of their own creation. You, who once walked with a wounded heart, now walk with freedom, and they, who walked without remorse, now face the consequences of their actions, not from you, but from life itself. Witnessing karma in action is a moment of spiritual awakening. It reminds you that you don't have to fight every battle, that you don't need to carry every burden, that the one who sees your pain also sees their wrongdoing, and in his perfect time he responds. The justice you could not achieve with your hands, he brings with his will. Let them face what they gave, let them feel what they caused, not because you wish them harm, but because truth demands balance, and you, the one they tried to break, now stand as a living testimony that no betrayal goes unanswered. You are the proof that justice is real, and karma never sleeps. You attract blessings by releasing negativity. There is a hidden cost to carrying pain, a spiritual toll that often goes unnoticed until it has drained the soul of light. When someone betrays you, mistreats you, or wounds you in ways you never expected, the emotional aftermath can be consuming. The anger, the resentment, the constant replay of events, it all becomes a heavy fog that clouds your vision and wraps tightly around your spirit. And yet many hold on to this darkness, believing it protects them or gives them power. But the truth is, negativity doesn't protect you. It blocks you. It becomes a wall between you and the very blessings you've been praying for. You might not even realize it. You may be wondering why life feels stagnant, why your prayers seem unanswered, why joy feels fleeting, but inside there is a storm, the storm of unforgiveness, bitterness, and hurt, that creates spiritual noise, drowning out the whispers of opportunity, healing, and divine favor. It's like standing in a room filled with clutter, hoping to find peace, yet there is no space for it to dwell. Negativity is more than a feeling, it is an energy, a force that weighs down the soul and dims the light within you. And when you walk through life carrying this burden, it affects everything. Your relationships, your choices, your ability to see clearly, and your readiness to receive. Blessings require space. Space in your heart, your mind, and your soul. But when those spaces are filled with thoughts of revenge, pain, and bitterness, where can blessings settle? How can peace take root? Now imagine the shift that happens when you release it. When you finally say, I am done carrying this, something extraordinary begins to unfold. The heaviness lifts, the fog begins to clear, and for the first time in a long time, you can breathe deeply. That breath, that stillness is not empty, it's sacred. Because in the place where pain once lived, blessings begin to arrive. You start to notice them in small ways first. Moments of peace that once felt impossible. Opportunities that seem to find you without effort. Relationships that bring healing instead of harm. And then, in bigger ways, doors open that were once shut. Strength rises that you didn't know you had, and favor seems to follow you where you go. This is not coincidence. This is the natural consequence of choosing light over darkness, of releasing the toxic energy that once held you captive. Letting go of negativity doesn't mean forgetting the pain. It doesn't mean pretending the betrayal never happened. It means choosing yourself over your anger. It means choosing your future over your past. It means saying, I will not let what they did define what I receive. Because the blessings meant for you, the peace, the joy, the abundance, cannot dwell in a heart shackled by resentment. There is a divine principle at work. What you hold on to determines what you attract. If you hold on to pain, you attract more pain. If you hold on to fear, you attract situations that validate that fear. But when you let go, when you create space by releasing the bitterness, you open the floodgates for something higher, something greater. You begin to attract the very things you thought were out of reach. Think of a vessel, a cup meant to be filled with living water. But if that cup is filled with mud, with bitterness and rage, how can it be filled with anything else? It must first be emptied, cleaned, and prepared. Your soul is that vessel. Your heart is that cup. And the blessings waiting for you, they are ready to pour in the moment you make room. This is why letting karma handle those who hurt you is powerful. It is not just about them facing consequences. It is about you being free to receive, free to walk in abundance, free to move forward, free to be happy again. The energy of revenge, anger, and sorrow is heavy, but the energy of peace, forgiveness, and hope is light, and blessings follow light. When you let go of negativity, you are not just releasing pain, you are making a declaration to life itself. I am ready, I am open, I am worthy. And with that, the blessings that were once held back begin to find their way to you. Not by force, not by struggle, but because your soul is finally in alignment to receive. You step into your higher self. There is a version of you that pain tried to destroy, a version of you that betrayal attempted to bury, that heartbreak tried to silence. But despite everything you've endured, the lies, the manipulation, the abandonment, you are still here, and not just surviving, but awakening. What if I told you that the very pain designed to break you is the same force pushing you toward the greatest version of yourself? What if the betrayal you suffered was not a curse, but a catalyst, an invitation to step into your higher self? Your higher self is not just a concept. It is the truest, purest form of who you are. The version of you that is no longer shackled by fear, no longer defined by past wounds, no longer living beneath your potential. It is the version of you that walks in purpose, with clarity, peace, and power. But here's the truth. You cannot become your higher self while carrying the weight of who hurt you. You cannot rise while holding on to the chains of anger, revenge, or resentment. These emotions, while valid, anchor you to a version of yourself that was shaped by pain, not by growth. There comes a moment, often in the quiet aftermath of suffering, when your soul begins to whisper, "There is more, you are more." And that whisper grows louder each time you choose peace over revenge, healing over hatred, freedom over bitterness. This is the process of stepping into your higher self, the process of choosing to evolve rather than stay stuck in the story others wrote for you. The person who betrayed you may have written the first chapter of your pain, but you get to write the next chapter of your growth. And it begins the moment you decide that you will no longer allow what they did to define you. You are not what happened to you. You are not the heartbreak, the lies, or the abuse. You are the survivor of it. You are the one who walked through fire and came out refined, not ruined. Stepping into your higher self means you stop reacting to their actions and start responding to your calling. You stop focusing on how to make them pay and start focusing on how to fulfill your purpose. It means you wake up in the morning not thinking about what they did, but about what you are becoming. It means you look in the mirror and see strength, resilience, and wisdom, not wounds. And the beauty of it all? You did it without revenge. You did not become your higher self by sinking to their level. You rose above it. You took the high road, the hard road, and in doing so you unlocked a power they will never understand. They may have caused your pain, but they did not control your destiny. God used that pain to elevate you, to awaken you, to mold you into someone unstoppable. When you step into your higher self, your perspective shifts. You no longer seek validation from those who hurt you. You no longer crave their apology, their approval, or their regret. You become whole without it. You realize that your worth is not tied to their treatment of you, but to God's vision for you. And that vision is bigger than your betrayal, bigger than your suffering, bigger than the past. You begin to carry yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with quiet confidence, not with bitterness, but with inner peace. You learn to say no without guilt, to set boundaries without fear, to walk away without explanation. You understand that protecting your peace is not selfish, it is sacred. And as you do, you attract new experiences, new people, and new opportunities that align with who you are now, not who you were when they hurt you. Stepping into your higher self means walking in alignment with divine purpose. It means trusting that God is working all things together for your good, even when it doesn't feel like it. It means believing that the betrayal was not the end, but the beginning of your breakthrough. It means accepting that the pain shaped you, but it will not define you. You step into strength. You step into clarity. You step into a life that no longer revolves around the past, but is fully open to the future. A future where your peace is unshakable, your heart is whole, and your spirit is free. Not because they changed or apologized or suffered, but because you changed. You rose, you let go, and you became who you were always meant to be, not broken but reborn, not defeated but divinely empowered. There is a divine rhythm to this life, a balance woven into every joy and sorrow, every betrayal and blessing. You did not go through the pain you endured just to be broken by it. You were never meant to stay in the shadows of what they did to you. There is more for you, more peace, more strength, more purpose. But to reach it, you must first make a sacred choice. Let go, and let karma handle those who hurt you. Your suffering has not gone unnoticed. The betrayal, the sleepless nights, the tears cried in silence, they were all seen by the one who governs justice with precision and love, and now he is calling you out of the darkness, out of the bitterness, and into a life that is free and full of blessings. Release the weight. Free your soul from the chains of anger and revenge. Allow divine justice to take over, because it already is. Those who tried to destroy you are already facing the echoes of their actions. You don't have to watch. You don't have to wait. Just know it's happening. And you are rising. You are no longer the victim of their betrayal. You are the victor over your pain. You have chosen peace over revenge, clarity over confusion, freedom over bondage. And because of that, your life is shifting. Blessings are on their way. Healing is already unfolding. Your higher self has awakened. Stand tall in who you've become. Walk boldly into your future. Let the past be a lesson, not a prison. Let karma finish what they started, while you step into the life you were always meant to live. One of peace, power, and divine purpose. Your story isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. And this time you are writing every word.